I love the ocean the way some people love their first cup of morning coffee. Every time feels like the first. That day, the sea smelled of salt and iron.
Shall we go for
The
a swim?
sky hung low over the water like a piano lid, and the waves struck the shore in an odd meter. Someone invisible was tapping out a warning rhythm. I didn't see him at once. First, a
What
crooked,
is that?
motionless shadow,
What happened?
then the rasp of netting, and suddenly, the world narrowed to one blowhole, gulping air in panic. On wet sand lay a dolphin, dark with growths and weed, laced in fishing nets so tight the knots had bitten into his skin like foreign letters carved into a living page. "Hold on, buddy," I said, though he couldn't know the words. He knew the tone. The surf shoved and slipped away, each retreat pulling strength out of him. I took out my diver's knife, a small tooth I'd only ever used on rope and fear. I cut the main loop at the pectoral fin, then, inch by inch, freed the body. The net snagged on the growths like burrs and fur, and each slice was a breath. Blood salted the water, made it heavy, and time turned viscous as silt. I kept talking so silence wouldn't win. "I'm here. I've got time. Breathe. A little more." When the last loop fell to the sand, he twitched his tail, weakly, but with intent. I peeled the soft growths from his skin with my hands, carefully, the way you pull a bandage off a child's knee. Sand grated under my knees, wind tore at my sleeves, and somewhere far away somebody laughed. Bright, wrong laughter from strangers. I called 2 fishermen from a nearby boat. We slid a tarp under him, waited for the wave to gather muscle, and on 3, we hauled. The body was heavy as an unsaid word, but the ocean helped. He always helps you return what is his. In the shallows, the dolphin trembled, as if trying to remember the manual for living. I cradled his belly, felt the muscles answer beneath the skin, and then he looked at me, bright, warm, bottomless, not gratitude, attention, as if someone dog-eared a page in my story. The first wave lifted him, the second carried him a meter, and then he moved on his own, toddling like a child after a fever. On the third wave he was gone, only rings on the water. My heart pinched. Is he there? Will he surface? He surfaced, once, twice, a flick of the tail like a nod. Noted. And he swam into the blue. I came back at dusk, hands smelling of salt and rubber, shoulders pulled down by weight. But inside me, something feather-light had nested, the feeling you get after a long, proper conversation. I thought, if he survives, I'll hear about it. I was wrong. I wouldn't just hear, I'd see. Days passed. I took my little boat out where the sand below looks like stardust and the coral like castles children of the wind left behind. The sea tames memory quickly. Every rock a landmark, every ray a road sign. One day an unsigned sign found me. A gray silhouette rose so close the water between us turned warmer. He slapped the surface with his tail, loud as applause, and came right up. I laughed. He did too in his way. A soft whistle, a friendly click, a circle around the boat. I reached out. He didn't shy. He rose and showed the side where the knots had once moaned. Pale scars now, like lines I'd read. "Hey," I said. "You came back." That's how our friendship began. It sounds funny, friendship with a dolphin, but friendship speaks a simple language, showing up. He showed up whenever I went to sea. sometimes alone, sometimes with a pair of friends, as if introducing me to family. I named him Apollo, not because he was a god, but because he was light. When he was near, the water cleared and my thoughts did too. Sometimes I fed him a fish or two, not a bargain, a sign. You give me memory, I give you joy. He took food carefully, like a good pilot taking wind. We dove together, he quick and sure, me slow and full of wonder. Surfacing, I'd catch myself thinking, stupidly, is this really happening to me? It was. And then came the day I don't tell in loud rooms. They like to interrupt there, and this story won't be rushed. The ocean lay flat as glass. I went deeper than usual to watch the sun build a staircase out of light. Silence was thick. Only my regulator ticked a steady metronome. Then the space changed. Shadows stretched left and right, fish muted, and a cold hand pressed my back. I turned and saw a line that didn't belong to this landscape. Large, striped, moving exact and silent. The thought you swat away, and it returns anyway. A shark. I'm not a movie hero or a black belt of the deep. I'm a person. People freeze first. Time swelled to the size of the ocean, and there was room for only two things: her movement and my breath. She circled wide, narrowing the loop like a practiced herder driving prey toward a convenient wall. The wall was me. I did what they teach. Faced her, went vertical, no flinching, hold the gaze. But fear isn't a puppy. It doesn't sit on command. A hammer pounded in my chest. My fingers on the spear felt wooden. She came absurdly close. I saw water tremble behind her gills. Her eye was black, unadorned. It simply was. And then the water in front of me detonated. No. Decided. A gray body slashed the blue like an arrow and smashed its whole universe of fury into the shark's side. A dull, heavy sound. Two stones agreeing to meet. I spun into a vortex of bubbles, and when my eyes broke the chaos, I saw Apollo. He was already on his second run. It all happened fast and forever. First hit, center mass. Second, angled, sharp as an exclamation mark. The shark wobbled, tried to drop into depth, but Apollo held her course, not with teeth, not with rage, with a decision. I finally understood what no looks like in the language of the sea. The curve of a body, perfect math, the will to live multiplied by 2. Then he came back to me, set himself crosswise between me and the shadow, and led me upward, slow. I followed him the way you follow light. We broke the surface, and the world turned flat again. Boat, glittering chop, air that smelled like iron, and home. I tore off my mask and laughed so hard the gulls took offense. Apollo raised his head and made that homely click, the sound of memory snapping shut. "Thank you," I said. A stupid human, thank you. I had no other words. Since then, I've known one thing. In the ocean, as on land, nobody owes anybody anything. But sometimes, someone chooses to be there. That day, Apollo chose for 2. He chose me, the man who once chose him on the beach. It wasn't a deal. It was friendship. Rare as a quiet storm, loud as heartbeat in your ears. He still visits, alone or with 2 companions like he's saying, "Meet my people." I toss him a small fish, not a bribe, a postcard. We swim side by side. I tell him about land. He tells me about depth, each in our tongue. And I know, if fear finds me again, he'll appear where water makes up its mind. That's what a friend does. My name is Russell. His is Apollo. If the ocean keeps secrets, this is one I'm willing to shout.